All right, in this drawing we are going to talk about the placement drawing for our fruit still life. And I have one of my sketchbooks here that did not get used. It's a little crooked, so that's okay, but we're going to talk about where and how to do this. So if this were your sketchbook cover, or your sketchbook, we're going to turn it to the very center of our sketchbook. And we know it's the center because we have the staples here. This is also watercolor paper, so it's a little heavier than the other drawing paper that we had been using for like our silly prompts and other things. And so we're going to work right in the center of our sketchbook, okay? And we are just using one side of this. I would encourage you to go this way with your still life because it is a little bit wider going this way than it is tall, all right? So give me a moment, I have to grab a still life. All right, just like with the egg and the cup still life, we are going to begin this with a very quick placement sketch. And I'm looking at this saying, okay, I've got these two big circular shapes here. I've got a small circular shape. All these grapes are kind of circular. And then I've got the bananas. So what I want to do is use up a majority of my paper space, and I'm going to do this rather quickly to make sure that I have everything fitting on the paper. So I'm going to start over here with this apple, and as I already mentioned, it's a circular shape, so I just kind of quickly place it on the paper. I've got the orange over here that's just a little bit lower than the apple, so you can see the bottom of it is just a little bit lower here. I have the lime that is overlapping the apple, so it's going to be right about here. I've got all these grapes, but I'm going to hold off on the grapes until I get the bananas placed in here. Now, the bananas go up. They're probably the highest thing. They are the highest thing in this life. And when I start the stems, I can see all three stems, but the middle one is overlapped just a little bit by the one on the right. And I don't have a really good solution for a simple shape on these other than that they're just kind of a long oval shape. I don't see the bottom of this banana, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in there for now. I don't see the entire middle banana, but I'm going to go ahead and show what I can see. Some of it is overlapped by this banana. And then this last banana that is farthest away from us. Well, we do see quite a bit of it. You notice all of these bananas are curving. And again, that would not be the very bottom of it, but that's going to be where our grapes are. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw to about that point. So I very quickly have the bananas and everything on but the grapes. Now when it comes to the grapes, right now I'm just going to map in like the overall bunching of the grapes. Just like that. Now that I have everything on there, I need to look at it and say, okay, do I have most of my paper being occupied or used by the shapes? Yes. Do I have some room for the wrinkles in the background? Yes. Does it look like everything is in the proper place? The lime is overlapping the apple. I've got to get some more grapes over here overlapping the orange. But I do have the grapes in front of the banana, so we're good to go on that end. Okay, so now I'm going to come back and say, okay, what else do I need to do? I think the orange is a pretty good size, but I know that there's going to be some grapes here. And I will tell you that the grapes are going to be about the size of a nickel. If you have anything smaller, you need to go back and make them bigger. So now I can start kind of mapping in where the grapes are going to go. The orange is going to be at least the size of my fist. The bananas are probably, about the length of my hand. I do think I could add just a little bit more height of this for the banana peel here, and then I'm going to just keep going and start adding some stuff on this. For example, this apple is not a perfect circle. It's a little bit wider, and the top of it's just a little bit more uneven than a circle. I would erase where it comes in, or where the lime is in front of it. I've got a little circular shape for the stem of my lime. And again, I'm talking to myself because this is what you would do as you're drawing this. It's just saying, okay, do I have this in the right place? You do not have to draw every single grape. I am not going to count it and say, okay, well, there were 21 grapes and you only have 19. But if you draw 3 grapes, yeah, that's not enough, okay? I am looking at each one saying, okay, I think if I get one more in, I have just about what I see there. And again, remember I said the size of these should be about the size of a nickel. So far, so good. There's a little space down below on this one. And no, you don't want to pull a nickel out and start tracing because these are not circular. They're more of an oval. Yeah, I know, I got a couple of them that are circular. But they're all not the same either. Now I can see some grapes underneath. I can see some stems. I think this lime is not quite supposed to be overlapping that grape, but I think it's pretty close, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, so when I get to this point, we are going to say, okay, the next step is when we start to add color. And we're going to do this tomorrow. We're going to be using some paint, or actually they're called watercolor crayons. But for today, we want this line drawing of the fruit. And I can tell you mine is a little on the dark side because I wanted you to be able to see it on the video. But you need to be able to erase and get rid of lines. And because this is watercolor paper, we need to be extremely light and extremely careful that we're not making them too dark. Last thing I want to mention is when you get to this point, I think I've got to change that just a little bit. We want to go ahead and put in some of these dominant, strong wrinkles. Like there's one right here. There's one that kind of comes off to the side right here. There's a couple of them in front, and I'm not going to put a whole lot of detail because a lot of that's going to be done with the paint. But right now, I'm just showing some of the real obvious ones. And that might be it. So, again, for today, we want to work on proportion, overlapping, placement. Proportion is proper height to width, okay? Overlapping is the things that you see in the picture are actually shown in your drawing as in front of the others, like the grapes in front of the bananas. Placement, proper things where they're supposed to be. We don't want the lime to be way up here because the lime is about the farthest thing down on our paper. So placement, proportion, and overlapping. And we are keeping it as a simple line drawing. We're going to go as light as possible and make sure that you're working on the watercolor paper. And that is it for the video.